although there's this song.
Scream and Shout.
Scream and Shout.
Yeah.
So tell us what happened after that. Simon Cowell asked you to be a judge on Xfactor.
I'd manifested that job, so I'd sat down on the sofa next to my mate and said, I want that job. And then things just got nasty, they took a turn, probably around the time of the tape. That's when things just changed for me. I just felt a difference in the energy of the press towards me and the general public.
We used to see each other quite frequently, and I haven't seen you for years and years, but I used to see you on Top of the Pops or interview you for different things. It's so good to see you again.
So good to see you too. You're looking amazing.
And are you?
Thank
now,
you.
when you look back over this crazy roller coaster career that you've had, from I guess when Ndubz went mainstream, how does it feel to look back on that sort of 15-year period?
Oh God, it's a broad question, isn't it? There's a million different emotions, so many different parts of the journey. In total, right now, just blessed to have all the experiences that I've had, and to be in the place that I'm in now, I guess.
That's so good to hear, because when I've been sort of either watching what you've been going through or certainly before today, just having a rummage around in your life, you've lived about 10 lives in one life, it seems. Does it feel that way?
I agree, 100%. That's what I feel like. I've crammed in just as much life experience as I possibly can into one.
But how brilliant that you're at a place where you feel, would you say at peace?
100%.
How amazing.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I think when people have been through stuff, I've been through a whole heap of shit.
Yeah.
It can be really hard to land on peace. You can have resentment, you can have anger. There's a whole bunch of emotion that comes with going through drama and trauma and really difficult times. But you're at a place where you feel good.
Yeah, really good. I would say just recently, maybe in the past year, is when I really feel that I'm at the point that I've been hoping to get to and working towards getting to, where just let a lot of things go, from the past, and I'm just very much in the moment. My motto at the minute is just be. And
have you done therapy, or have you got to that place of feeling good, really?
Self-analysing, self-therapy, and I feel like a lot of the time we really do create our own happiness. So looking into my own life, what are the things I can do to make myself happier? What connections are not serving me, what habits need to be kicked, what do I need to do more of, and I've just been active. I'd say like for the past 3 years I've really been working towards getting my peace and creating the life that I want to be in and want to live, and I've kind of just got there. So now it's honeymoon period with myself.
Yes, I love
it's
that.
Nice, yeah.
How brilliant. I mean, that's, I think, where we all want to get to
100%.
Is feeling really happy with ourselves and our choices and find that level of peace. So look, if we can, let's rewind back to the very, very start.
Yeah.
You grew up in a really musical household. Your mum was a singer. Your dad was in Mungo Jerry.
Yeah.
And you had that sense that music was something that was important. When did that click for you that you thought, this could be a career path for me, or certainly something I'm very passionate about?
I was really young. I think from like the age of 4, I remember like running around the house listening to Michael Jackson, and I was just like, this is what I want to do. And my dad had a little studio in Dollis Hill, and he used to bring me there sometimes when he was working, and he put me on the mic at the age of 5. I was singing Little Mermaid.
Yes.
I just knew there's nothing else that I felt passionate about. I mean, there was a short period where I wanted to be an archaeologist.
Oh, gear change.
Yes, but when it came to choosing the career path, I went, there's still time.
There's still time.
Still time.
Chapter 2.
Yeah.
Who knows?
A little bit of exploring Lara Croft.
Yeah, why not? You had a sort of family affair in terms of music, because your cousin Dappy, he had sort of set up a sort of a rap group that you then ended up joining as a vocalist, and you were being played on pirate radio, experiencing success in terms of that underground radio station situation, which was a huge deal.
Yeah.
But it clicked over to mainstream. How and when did you notice that happening?
Well, firstly, I'd say Dappy wanted to be a solo star. It was his dad, Uncle B, that said, if you're going to do this, it's going to be a lot better if we turn it into a band and we get a singer involved. And he said, why don't you work with Phaser? And then they said, we need a singer. They originally hired someone else who didn't turn up to the session. It was fine because at the time I was like, I'm going to be solo. And then my uncle came and knocked on my door and was like, will you come to the studio? And at first I was like, nope, going solo. He was like, here's 20 quid. I was like 30 quid. I was like, make it a pinky and I'll come. So that was our first session. And then we were together for like 7 years before, that's like the age of 11 years old, before we actually started getting that attention. And I remember we had a show in a place called Red Hill. And it was quite big in terms of venues. So there were about 2,000 kids in there. And we turned up, we got on stage and we sang, you know, I Swear and Ouch. And the crowd was just screaming it back to us. And we just looked at each other and we were like, we've done it. We've only gone and bloody done it. So yeah, that was the first time when it just sunk in and it clicked. We were like, okay.
But it was years of hard graft to get to that place, which is, I think, what helps artists essentially stick around, because you know the hard work you've got to put in, you understand how the industry works. With your album, Uncle B, you had total mainstream success with that album.
Yeah.
How did you cope with that? Because yes, it's fun and exhilarating and you have that sense of achievement after all those years, but it's a different flavour of working in the music industry when it's all eyes on you and people want to know you all of a sudden and there's exciting offers and opportunities. How did you cope with that?
I was in my savage era back then. My whole life had been based around making it. It was all I wanted to do, my only goal. It was my only focus to take me away from whatever stress I was going through at home. So when I got it, it was like just thriving it. There was no at that when I first came into it, even if there was bad press, even if there were problems, I was just like, this is what I want to do. This is where I'm meant to be. So I didn't really feel that feeling at first. I enjoyed the fame. It's what I'd always wanted. I wanted to be successful, and for me to be the most successful I could possibly be, you would have to have that kind of level of hysteria and people in your business and press and stuff. So when I got it, I was like, yes, I've done it.
That's incredible. Yeah. And I guess that gives you a level of natural resilience, because you know that the shit bit is worth it because you're doing what you ultimately want to do.
Well, I mean, that changed later down the line. But
we'll get to that.
Initially, that was the feeling.
Did you have the right people around you at that time?
No, definitely not. There's so many different things that could have been done. Like, I think back and I'm like, if I was managing Ndubz, or guiding them, you know, once Uncle B left, it was very much a lot of strangers got involved and saw these kids, and we'd already just crossed the line, so there wasn't much work to be done. It was just roll with it. But yes, I don't want to badmouth anyone, do you know what I mean, and say people didn't do their job properly, but I just think when it comes to advising and finances and things like that 17-year-old kids just don't really know much about, we could have had a lot more guidance than what we did.
I think also when you're really young in the industry, and I can certainly look back at parts of my career and feel the same, you look at these adults who are strangers and you do initially think, oh, they know what they're talking about. They know what they're doing, because I'm a kid and they're adults, so I'll do what they're telling me to do. And only in hindsight you can, I guess, say, oh, actually, I probably shouldn't have trusted that person or followed that route. It's a tricky one because you're a kid.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of didn't. We believed we were little adults in our mind. Do you know what I mean? We were 3 kids from Camden, so the people that we were then coming across in the industry were like, you don't know what you're on about. So we had that energy. So yeah, we did a lot ourselves. We were very, determined, and we put our foot down on a lot of stuff. But I just feel there was a lot more information and knowledge that could have been shared with us about things that we had to learn the hard way. Yeah.
I mean, we all do. We have to go through it to grow through it. To grow through it, babe.
Go through it to grow through it.
I mean, not long after, in 2011, Simon Cowell asked you to be a judge on Xfactor. That is, again, a whole level up of fame and all eyes on you and scrutiny. How did you navigate that?
Again, at first, I'd manifested that job. So I'd sat down on the sofa next to my mate and said, I want that job. I'm getting that job one day. So when it happened, I was thriving. I've done it. I've achieved another goal. And then things just got nasty. They took a turn. Probably around the time of the tape, that's when things just changed for me. So I just felt a difference in the energy of the press towards me and the general public. And that's when the years of that kind of poking the bear started to really sink in, and I started to feel a bit more negative about the process. And it just started to get to me. It was just too much. I felt too much pressure, too judged by everyone. And I'm a very sensitive individual emotionally. I'm like a sponge, so I could feel the dislike at times. I could feel the hate from people. And it made me feel very low, very depressed, and I just felt like this isn't a life I want to live. So even though they actually didn't bring me back on the second year, I'd already said I wasn't going back, because if I was going to choose, between success or my sanity, I was going to choose my sanity.
Which is utterly refreshing to hear, because I think so often we feel pressured that we have to, put on a suit of armour and go back out and deal with it all again. But that show is a juggernaut, and the attention that you get. I mean, I did like one series of Xfactor 1,000 years ago presenting it, and I found it almost impossible to deal with, the size of it and the pressure and the expectation, and never quite knowing if you're doing a good job. And I opted out, I left, but I think I was probably ultimately sacked at the same time, and I was like, I'm out, I'm done, I can't put up with this anymore.
It's not for everyone.
It's not for everyone. It's certainly not for me. I am way too sensitive for that kind of thing. But as you say, you were feeling this shift in the press and maybe from the public. That's a horrible thing to go through. I mean, I've totally been through it as well. I get it. It's a shit feeling when people make assumptions about you, people are judging you, you know that they're not seeing the real version of you. There's no space to show the real version of yourself. And it eats away at your confidence. I mean, I, at one point, was like, I'm out, I don't want to do this anymore. I'll go and try and find a way to do something else because my confidence was so shot. What did it do to your confidence?
The thing was, rather than a lack of confidence, it just made me angry and defensive, because I was very resilient as a person. I got that from my upbringing. So it gave me more the feeling of, right, it's me against the world now. F everyone. It was that energy. Rather than letting it sink into me and how I view myself, I just projected it back on them and was just kind of in angry mode to survive.
But then you're in that battle mode. That's draining.
Oh, of course. Sucked the life out of me. And I maintained that mode for a long, long time.
Yeah, and you're in fight or fly. You're constantly on edge. That's
it's
fun.
the the Eminem song, all right, I am whatever you say I am. That's the energy that I had to go with. So what can I do?
Yeah, it's shit.
Yeah.
It's really shit.
It is shit.
And I guess you get to the point where you go, what? I don't care what people think of me anymore.
Yeah,
like,
that's basically it. You just like, oh, it's all right, it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't think I ever got there.
No?
No. I'm still desperately trying to prove, like, this is who I really am.
Yeah.
This is the authentic me. And, no one will ever really get that.
You can't. It's like the Japanese say we have three faces. We have the one we show ourselves in the mirror, then we have the one that we show our immediate circle, and then the one that the world sees. It's a big jump from the first face. Even, the second face, or even the people closest to you second don't get to see that first face, so it's very difficult to show it to everyone. It's almost impossible. And especially when we're trying, like you say, it's like, I want people to know me. It's like we're in a state of seek, which, it's like we're projecting that, oh, I'm lacking something, I need something. And then when we put out that energy, then we're not being our true authentic self. So people can't see it anyway. So it's difficult to find the balance between being us and not caring and just kind of staying neutral. Yeah,
it's hard to not care. I realised really recently that I really give a shit whether people like me or not. And really? I wish that wasn't the case, but I don't know how, and hopefully with age that will dilute, but I still care too much whether people like me or not. And I don't know if that's just because I'm so used to in my career that being a currency almost. That
Yeah,
if
well,
I'm liked, I get a job.
Yeah, you have to.
I struggle with that one. I mean, are you at a place where you literally don't give a shit if people like you or not?
I'd say that I'm a very spiritual person, so I feel like my spiritual beliefs lead me to care less about what people think. Like, I believe in reincarnation. I believe that we're here on earth to ascend the soul to next levels and to grow and have experiences. And so sometimes I kind of sit back and I'm like, this life, even though it's a great experience, is probably like a grain of sand on a beach in terms of the bigger picture. So it's kind of meaningless what people think or don't think. It's just about going on the journey and trying to just grow as much as I can. I care about the people that love me and what they think of me and how they see me. That's important because they know me. So their opinion is going to be valid because they actually know the real me. But other people, it's just society nonsense. It's just a perception that we've built up, that we think we can just know people and judge people because they're in the public eye, and it's rubbish. You know, Tom on the internet doesn't have a clue who I am. So why would I take on board what he has to say?
Yeah. Fuck Tom.
Yeah, fuck Tom, man. Tom can do one.
I'm probably going to transcribe what you've just said and read it every day, just so I can stay sane, Tulisa. That's probably what I need to do.
Take it.
I mean, I guess a lot of this stuff is hard won. You can get to that point of caring less because you've experienced the extremes. And one of the major dramas happened in 2013, where you were embroiled in this awful drama where an undercover journalist gone rogue tried to set you up and get you arrested for drug dealing.
Yeah.
Thank God you won the court case.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mitigate the year of absolute hell that you went through. Just tell me about that time and how that's impacted you.
Well, first of all, I didn't actually win. He was caught out lying in court, and so the case was dropped. And then obviously he was prosecuted for perjury. But yeah, that year, I call my year of enlightenment. There's nothing like it. You can't buy life experience like that. It's just completely unexpected. I thought at the time nothing much could shock me, basically. You know, I'd seen it all, and deceit that people could commit and lies that could be told. But when that happened, I was like, wow, this is a next level. Ups and downs throughout that year. Again, I've always been very spiritual, so the spiritual side of me is probably what kept me going. But there were days when, you know, I'd be on that bathroom floor, crying my eyes out, having nervous breakdowns, thinking about doing the worst things possible. But I didn't have a choice. Like, you just have to keep going, and you just keep fighting or you drop. And I just chose to keep fighting through it. But it's very hard to describe the experience and the character traits, you could say, that it's given me. But ultimately now at this point, like, I do see it as a blessing, because it was after that year that I began the journey of finding my peace. And I feel like without going through that, I would never have started that journey in the way that I have and got to the place that I am now. I was very lost. And sometimes through all the chaos, you can manage to find yourself or something deeper in yourself, which I feel like I did.
That's so amazing. Christ, I think that's just so amazing, because with big situations like that, it is sink or swim.
Yeah.
And I think many people, I think I would sink in that situation. The amount of pressure and attention and the deceit that you've experienced and how that impacts just how you trust people every day.
Yeah.
It takes such resilience to get through something like that. But not only get through it, to actually be thriving the other side of it.
Yeah. I really don't know how. It's like sometimes I look back, I'm like, how? But I guess it's just an accumulation of experiences, my perspective, thought process and beliefs somehow have all come together to just get me to this amazing place. I can't explain it other than just saying it's all perspective. It's all perspective. You know, I can choose to look at it how I want. I could sit here and I could be bitter and I could be angry, but that's not going to do anything for me. if I want to feel happiness and peace, I have to let it go. And there are positives that I've taken from it. I really needed people during that time. And I had an issue prior to that and for a long time afterwards with attachment, building bonds with people. I was kind of like someone I had a little bit of love for everyone, but I would never zone in on deep relationships with people. And then through needing people during that time, I kind of bonded with people through trauma. So like my two best friends that I have now, like I've known them from the age of 17, but it took that experience in my life for me to bond to the extent of sisterhood with them. So I can literally say off the back of the experience, I learnt how to love. Through trauma, which is incredible. I don't want to be the person I was before that had issues with building attachment to people. Well, that's a horrible, lonely, depressing place to be in. And now I have this incredible soul family around me, the family I chose. And they're incredible humans, and every day and time spent with them and conversation is just beautiful. It's love, and it flourishes and it continues to grow. And I was always missing that in my life, and now I have it. So I'd go through it all again to keep that.
And do you think, so prior to this situation, with your lack of desire to have that closeness with people, was that because you didn't want to ask for help? You were scared to get close to them in case they left? What was the problem?
I don't think it was a lack of desire. I think it was an inability. I think I had been conditioned through the upbringing with my mum. She has schizoaffective disorder, schizophrenia and bipolar. It's hard to explain. So like with my mum's illness, you might have 6 months where she's well, completely normal. And then all of a sudden, overnight, everything switches. She goes into an episode, becomes someone completely different. There's days when she didn't even recognise me. She's mistaken me for a demon. So when you grow up in this mindset of having to switch on and off your emotions and know that, to me, I almost had to be like, oh, love isn't real. It's here, but it's temporary. I never really had that close, loving bond with anyone. So it was more about the fact that I just didn't understand it. I didn't get it, hadn't felt it, hadn't seen it. So I was just very, very detached. Very, very detached person. I'd never had extremely close relationships with individuals. But I was always a loving person. I was always kind to everyone. And I felt a lot of empathy and I felt a lot of emotions, but I just didn't get close to one individual person.
I mean, that is an amazing silver lining to come out of something utterly shit. Has it affected how you trust people 100%. That you don't know?
But I'm not someone that walks around going, oh, what's he up to? What's she doing? I always hope for the best and prepare for the worst. So I just get to know people logically. I have that wariness of everyone, but I don't lead with it. That kind of stays in the subconscious where I, act in a way that I'm always protected. But I'll lead with love and, give everyone an equal chance.
I mean, you described again during that period being in this sort of fight mode that you had already experienced working on Xfactor and with all the drama going surrounding that.
Yeah.
After that year was over and that there was a bit more clarity as to the outcome, could you park that sort of fight or flight, I'm in battle mode, and feel a sense of peace? No.
It wasn't straight away. I'd say only up until about a year ago, I parked the fight or flight. But that's because I had a lot of other issues going on in my life. And I think I've only been court case free like a year ago. I had consistent, but usually they're not necessarily criminal. So it could just be like legal suing over someone trying to sue me over something silly, but just constant court cases. So I think really only, within the past year, I've actually gone, right, I can breathe. But that's because I could actually physically breathe because everything in my life has calmed down.
Although there's this song, the shout and scream.
The scream and shout.
Scream and shout.
Yeah.
Another drama.
Yeah, that happened afterwards, yeah.
I mean, you could work in the sort of law world now,
perhaps,
with the knowledge that you've gained.
I know a lot about the legal system. unfortunately.
It's like another drama to contend with.
Yeah.
I mean, so that was a song that you'd written
Yeah.
and done a demo with your vocals on.
Yeah.
So tell us what happened after that.
I got a call from will.i.am saying, listen, I want to take this record. Will you give it to me? Basically trying to do everything legitimately. I want to put Britney on it. I want to release it around the world. It'll be amazing for you, you know, as a writer. And I said, no, I want it to be my next single. This is going to be my next single. I can't give it to you. I need a follow-up from Young. And then just casually sitting at home, and there it was on the telly. You know, and
That's
Britney,
how you found out?
Yeah, Britney's just singing, and I'm like, is that my voice on the record that she's singing over? You know, when you're in the club, all eyes on us, you can hear it. My vocals are on the record, so she's singing on top of me. That's why she's got the British accent. And I was just like, what the hell is going on? So yeah, it started the long process of another legal case, which, you know, amazingly, thankfully, turned out in my favour. And actually, now I don't complain about it because royalties are good. So
Another great silver lining.
You know, in a way, you know, Will was initially right when he was saying to me, like, this would be huge for you. You know, you can make so much money out of it. You could do this with it. Have, you know, if we get a number one in like 52 territories around the world, that's, you know, insane. And someone like Britney can do that. But at the time, I was just, you know, hard-headed, and I was like, no, this is my single. I don't care about the bigger picture. It's my song. I'm not giving it to anyone.
So where are you and will.i.am at?
We're not anywhere. I've seen him and just been like, you're right, mate. It's not. I'm not asked. I've got paid. My name's on the record. It is what it is.
But you would have liked him to have told you, perhaps.
Yeah, of course. Well, but I mean, I don't know. It is what it is, isn't it? He should have just put my name down on, you know, all the publishing to make sure that I was going to get paid either way, rather than going the long-winded way around it. Like, of course I'm going to sue you, bro. But, you know, it is what it is. He went about it how he did. At the end of the day, it's something that I'm proud of doing now, so no bad blood.
The music industry is wild.
It is wild.
It's wild. I don't think people truly understand how it is the Wild West.
The Wild West. Like, they don't know. Unless you're in it, you don't know.
It's ridiculous.
It is. It's
crazy.
Crazy.
There must have been times where you've thought, oh, I can't be bothered with this anymore. I'm out.
100%. 100%. I mean, through most of it. I think I'll be out in 2 years from now. I've had enough already. So,
really?
Yeah.
Truly?
Truly. I'm going into property next year. I think I'll always come back for Ndubz. But I just think the person I've become, I'm a public figure that doesn't really like being in the public eye. So,
what keeps you in it?
If I'm going to go out, I'd like it to be on my terms. And so there's still some things I'd like to do.
Like what? Or is that private?
Just bits and bobs coming up. So yeah, before I do what I want to do, and then once all that's done, then I can say, you know, toodle pip. And I can take or leave it. It's not a thing where it's like, oh, I'm retiring, I'm out. I just go with how I feel. And if there's things that I want to do, I'll do them. And the times when I've, you know, like we say, I've just had enough, I just don't want to be doing this, I won't.
Do you think you'd miss the attention?
No.
That'd be a firm goodbye.
Yeah. I've become such an introvert the older I've got. I pretty much wear black every day. My friends like test me.
Era.
Yeah, they're like, come on, get a dress on. No, I'm not doing it. You wear black every time we go out because I've already got enough attention. I don't need to draw more attention to myself. I'm just a quiet person. I like my small circle of friends. I live in the middle of the countryside. I like looking out at the Shire every day. Yeah, it's just perspective. I like the quiet life now.
That's a lovely place to be at. Yeah. Really lovely. I mean, you touched on this a moment ago, but I want to give this proper time because I loved the documentary that you made about your childhood and your mum.
My mum and me.
I just thought it was so poignant and deeply important to properly look at what it is to be a young carer. You were a young carer to your mum. It was just you and your mum in the house. At that point, at a very young age, did you realise you were a carer? Because a lot of the time, there isn't a name given to it. You're just doing a lot of the housework, making sure your mum is emotionally well. Did you understand that you were a carer?
No, not until I was about 13. And then I'd started having sleepovers over friends' houses and seeing their parents and how things worked. And then I just kind of, I think, well, then again, I'd always realised, because when she'd go into hospital, I'd go and stay at my aunt, and I'd have a very happy life at my aunt's, and I'd have a lot of structure and routine. And then it would be time to go home, and I'd be like, oh no, not again. So I don't think but I think the unhappiness towards it started when I was like 13, when I saw, my friends' environments, and I was like, oh, I wish I had that. It was that kind of feeling. Like, oh, why do I have to deal with this? And that's when it kind of kicked in.
And watching that documentary, I mean, it's eye-opening.
Yeah.
There's moments where you describe, ambulances turning up, your mum being carted off to hospital, you going to the hospital and your mum being a sort of shell of herself.
Yeah.
That is so much to deal with as a young teenager.
Yeah. Well, from when I was born. So, but yeah, there's no really words to describe it. A lot of emotions, a lot of chaos. But I guess you could say it gave me a good, strong set of life tools.
It makes you grow up.
Yeah, you have to grow up
quickly.
really fast, and you kind of start learning to analyse more. Because remember, I'm constantly like watching my mum to see like what mode she in now, what mood she's going to be in, what's coming next. So it's like I was in fight or flight mode from then, which then prepared me for more stuff that was to come.
All of it. In the documentary, you meet a bunch of other young carers, and one common theme, sadly, is that your childhood, but also your school life is so massively impacted. How did that look for you?
I had so much to deal with at home. I already felt like a mini adult, and I was in control of my life. No one's telling me what to do, and then I go to school and I have to like play child and be told off by teachers and say, well, you have to do this and you have to do that. I had a deep interest in certain subjects, and the subjects I was good at, I was amazing at, but the rest of the time it was like, well, I don't want to sit and learn about algebra. I'm not doing it. It's not going to help me in life. I know exactly what it is I'm planning to do. So I just had this real too big for my boots attitude. I was just in there like, this is nonsense, I don't need to be here. And I would just kind of pick and choose what I put my energy into, because I was essentially already, in a sense, an adult, and that was the problem. I just hated being forced to do things and told what to do. It's like, I have to deal with enough crap when I'm at home. I don't want to come here and you make me sit and spend an hour of my time wasted into something I have absolutely zero interest in and that I don't believe is going to further me in life. So I just had a bad attitude at school.
Well, you had a lot to cope with.
Yeah.
You were trying to deal with a lot. There's a part in the documentary where you're reading a diary entry from you age 12, and it's really heartbreaking to hear where your head's at.
Yeah.
Looking back at 12-year-old little Tula.
Mm-hmm. Little Tula Bula.
Sweet little 12-year-old Tula. How does that make you feel? What do you want to say to little 12-year-old Tula?
Oh, I want to hug her. I want to run over there and go, hey, baby girl, it's all going to be okay. You're going to be good. Hang on in there. Stay strong. You got this. But then I guess it wouldn't be the same. I had to live in the unknown.
Did you feel there was enough care and support for you, whether that was coming from your community or your family? Who did you turn to when it all got too much?
No, I didn't feel like there was enough care and support. I remember I must have been about 14, and my mum's like mid-episode. She's going into breakdown mode. When this happens, she needs to be sectioned. Like, she can't take care of herself. She can't do anything. She can't cook. She can't clean. She can't even go to the toilet. And I remember ringing the hospital, being like, look, I need some help. And then, we don't really have any beds at the moment. I don't even want to go into too much of, because it's my mum, but the situation that was happening at the time was really bad. And to this day, I just think, like, why the hell was social services not stepping in and doing stuff? Like, it's mental. But this day and age, it has changed. I feel like there's more protection for kids like me.
Yeah, I mean, you met with so many young people that is their daily life now. Has that been, I don't know if comforting is even the right word because it feels all soft and flimsy, but has there been some sort of a nice connection, a positive connection, meeting these young carers over the years?
Honestly, I've always been that person that's just like, I've got it. I haven't felt like I've needed to. If anything, it's just like I have to now sit and go over it again and talk about it when all I want to do is move forward with my life, and steer away from anything mental health because I spent my entire childhood living with it. That's the truth of it. If anything, I just would just feel sad, meeting another person that has had to go through what I've gone through. It's like, oh, not you as well. You poor sod.
Yeah.
Like that's more the emotion that I feel from it. But yeah.
Is your mum doing all right now?
She's okay. The problem is all the medication she's taken over the years, they can obviously have long-term effects on the brain. So she's now developed Alzheimer's off the back of that. So that's been difficult, especially because she doesn't understand already half the time what's really going on. So to try and explain a new thing and handle that has been pretty complicated. But as is life, this is life. And what can we do?
Yeah. What can we do?
What can we do? We just roll with the punches,
Yeah.
is what it is.
I mean, you were in the documentary nervous about, could this happen to me one day? Where's my mental health going to go?
Yeah.
It seems like you're all right.
I mean, if it was going to happen, I say it would have happened.
No shit.
By now. So,
No
yeah,
shit.
I'm all clear. I'm safe. I'm good.
So brilliant.
Yeah.
For people out there listening to this who are like, they might have a history of mental health in their family. They might have had their own massive ups and downs or been through extremely challenging one-off situations. What do you think has gotten you through to this point where you can lean on some sort of spiritual framework or feel even remotely positive about the future? Because for some people, I think you go through something really hard and you think, I'm done. My life will never be the same again. I've certainly felt like that after certain things that I went through. Well, I'm never going to be okay ever again.
Yeah.
How do you get to that place? I think people desperately want to try and feel like that's possible for them. There is potential for them to feel okay.
Yeah. Well, I say spiritualism is a natural process. It's either you feel it or you don't in this lifetime. So if it's something that has touched you and, you're sort of looking at from the sidelines, then I would say tap into that if you feel it's something that you can do. But for the people that can't do that, perspective. I do believe that perspective is a choice. You can sit and you can choose to wake up every day and be miserable about the things you can't change. Or you can look at the day in the face and say, I'm going to make you my bitch. I'm going to fight to the death. And I will be happy because I choose to be. And I will find happiness in the smaller things in the day if I can't find it in the overall day. And I will make room for happiness. And I will create the little moments that keep me going. And perspective.
Perspective's such an interesting one. I literally saw like one of those cliche quotes on Instagram this morning, but it touched me.
Yeah.
And it was talking about, and it was someone famous that said it, and I can't remember, some great thinker, but happiness is all due down to if you are creating negative thoughts or not, and it being that simple. And I've been talking about this shit for years, but I still have to have it reduced down to the bare bones of, I am choosing to tell myself this terrible story again and again. I'm choosing to concentrate on the lack and all of the misfortune, rather than choosing to look at the good stuff. And it is it's a tiny shift in a way, but it is life shatteringly impactful if you can nail it. Do you think it's practice?
100%. Yeah, practice and experience. I get exactly what you're saying. Like at the moment, let's just say like at the minute I'm house renovating. So it might be a little 5 minutes throughout the day. All I've done is just going, and then I stop, have a little sick break. And you might get the odd little negative thought, trying to creep in. And I've found, like, naturally at the moment, like, it's literally only a couple of seconds. I'm like, no, why am I thinking about that for? That's not serving me. That's an imaginary scenario. That might not ever even happen. I'm not wasting my energy thinking, what else is there to do? Right, let's have a look at the to-do list, crack on, let's go. Or, oh, well, there could be something really nice that I could be sat here thinking about. Why am I thinking about, essentially, bullshit, not doing it? And I don't know, it's like I've started having that snap now where I just say to myself, nope, nope, nope. If it doesn't serve me, I'm not into it. I'm not giving it any energy. It's not giving me any energy. It's not doing anything for me. So why am I feeding it?
I'm fascinated about this because sometimes I think I get caught in a trap of I can totally think like that.
Yeah.
Or I will think to myself, you have to look at all the shit and you have to look at the past and you have to rifle through it all to find that peace. Would you say that doesn't work for you? Like,
yeah,
because
I was going to say that's perspective. So that it might work for you. Some people need to do that. Like some people want to, go to a counsellor and they want to talk through things and they want to find the source of the issues and before they can let it go and move forward. For me, it doesn't work. But that's just me. It's just never been my way. And I've maybe gone the long way around it, having to self-analyse and dig and figure it out. But it's rooting into the past doesn't do it for me personally. For me personally, the best thing possible is to go, just let it go. It's done. I'm here. I'm alive. I can be sat feeling miserable about it all, or I can choose to be happy. And I'm just going to choose to be happy, especially after everything that I've gone through. I refuse to spend another unnecessary second feeling anything that I do not and should not have to feel.
Yes. This is like therapy for me, Tulisa. It's so good.
Glad I could help.
No, it's so good because I think, first of all, that proves it's different for everyone. There is not one route to finding peace.
No.
You can dig into your past or you can choose not to.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think we feel like we shouldn't bypass the trickier things because we're not looking at it, or it's, somewhere below the surface lurking and it's going to spring out at us. But maybe it's not. And maybe we can make a decision to not go back and not look at stuff too deeply.
100%.
And choose positivity.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to say because people out there dealing with like serious issues and mad depression that they need help. I've got friends that suffer with depression and anxiety, and I have these conversations with them. And even me having my perspective, I look at them and go, I don't know if that's the best way for you to go around it. So it really just differs for each person. But I do believe that majority of the time, the little moments, in the day, that there is always a choice. Even if it's just to think less negatively over all of it, just choose hope rather than lean into the darkness.
What about stress? Because you've been through things that are not only quite traumatic, but actually really stressful. And that's not only a mental drain, but it is physically impactful too. How do you think stress has impacted you, and how have you moved through it?
Probably just like there's times when I've just been a nervous wreck. It's just made me more of an anxious, nervous person than I was before. Gave me a lot of unnecessary layers to my character. But it's something that, like I said, as of recent, especially the last year, I've just started shaking off. I think coming back with Ndubz really helped because I was feeling pretty agoraphobic at that time after COVID. And then the realisation kicked in. I was like, oh, wow, a week from now, I'm going to have to be on stage in front of 20,000 people.
I mean, you did what, 4 nights at the O2?
Yeah.
That's insane.
I know. I mean, if anything will shake your anxiety, your social anxiety out of you, your agoraphobia, it's that. So the universe just kind of thrusted me where it was like, no, there's no room for anxiety here, love. You better just get up there and do what you do.
Get
and this
out
is what
there
you do.
and sing.
And that just helped me, but I still felt it a little bit afterwards. And then it's kind of only recent. I've just been letting go more and more of it. And now I'm fine.
Just letting go.
Just letting go. Just let go. Let go, guys.
I'm such a control freak. I have to learn to let go.
I know, but that's the problem. We're not present if we're just constantly trying to control everything around us. We can't. We have to be in the moment. That is living.
So with this new sense of letting go, because before, as you say, like, even if we look at becoming a judge on the Xfactor, you manifested that. And sometimes I think...
go on. I know where you're going.
I know, because I confuse manifesting with, like, I'm in control here and this is the route that I'm taking. And the fear of me letting go is everything will fall to shit.
Yeah.
Because I'm not in manifesting mode, controlling everything.
Yeah. Well, I would say the art of manifesting is to manifest, but then also let go afterwards. You don't hold on to the manifestation. So like even everything going on in my life right now, I manifested that as well. And that started from like 2 years ago. And I maybe when I was in work mode and grafting to get to a certain place, I was in manifestation mode, like imagining and like I'm there, picturing the feeling that I'm now experiencing. But then once the ball started rolling, I just let go. And I don't need to manifest it anymore because it's coming. It's there. It's mine. So why do I need to seek it? And it's like I say, when you're seeking, you're in a state of lack. It's I need, I want, I don't have. The more abundant energy you project to the world, like I've got everything I need. I'm, straight abundance, peace, prosperity. The more it comes in. So part of the manifestation is cool, imagine it, feel it like you're there, but then let go because you know it's coming. So you don't need to manifest it anymore. You've got it. It's already done.
Yeah, that's
the writing's on the wall.
That's the bit I'm not
Yeah,
doing.
you have to. So it's like it's a bit of both, And so like at the moment, I'm not manifesting. I might daydream about, I know what's to come. That's going to be nice. But then I just crack on with my day.
I mean, what is next? As you said, you're always going to be there for Ndubz.
Yeah.
If they're, going to be doing a tour
Yeah,
or
we're
making
doing
new music.
Another album, another tour, at some
Okay,
point.
you're there.
Yeah.
But outside of that, the countryside and
peace. I'm going into property. I'm already in property, but I'm going into property. I'm actually going to build some themed rentals. So I'm like a super fantasy geek, all things like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones. And I've always wanted to get into the property game, but I was also like, there's some parts of it that can be a little bit mundane, and I was like, how can I do this but also be really passionate about what I'm doing? I was like, well, why don't I incorporate, something that I'm super passionate about? So instead of just like building houses, let's build themed places that I can rent out.
This is wild.
Let's create my own woodland realm. Do you know what I mean? I know it sounds quite far-fetched, but I'm doing it. So yeah, at the minute I'm looking for land. I want it to all be very kind of nature reserved. Cabins in a forest, and you have like your Hagrid's hut and your little
and the Hobbit house.
Hobbit house.
Wow.
So yeah, that's my plan for 2024.
I was not expecting you to say that.
I don't think many people would.
Just Tulisa digging out a Hobbit home.
I'm so excited about it. Like, I'm absolutely buzzing. Like, I love my life. I just wake up, just,
That's what it's all about.
I'm getting the sketches together at the moment, hunting for land. I went and saw like a piece of land the other day, and I was just like, I'm in heaven. This is what I'm going to do.
Brilliant.
So good.
I'm here for it.
Yeah?
I'm so here for it.
You get free weekends.
Oh, I'm coming.
I
want the
what would
Hobbit
be
house.
your
the Hobbit
ultimate,
one.
the Hobbit?
Yeah. I'm just scurrying into that little burrow and having a peaceful time. Okay. Thanks very much.
We'll make the door tall enough for fully fledged.
I can crawl in. It's all good.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
it's fine. No, what joy it's been to talk to you.
Thank you.
Personally, I'm just chuffed that you're in such a good place. And I think not only am I happy that you're in a good place, but I think it's so positive for all of us to hear that it's entirely possible to get through really shitty situations and come out the other side, not only being all right, but actually thriving.
Yeah. Agreed. And, if the story inspires anyone to feel like that, then it's another amazing reason as to not feel upset about it. Like, it's worth it for so many reasons.
It's brilliant. Well, look, I've loved talking to you, and it's been so lovely to hang out. Thank you, Tulisa.
Thank you too, Fearne. I'll see you soon.
I'll see you soon in the Hobbit house.